monster. I feel like a monster. Hey y'all, it's Rad Lad, and welcome back to The Life and Suffering of Sir Brante. The lesson. Finally, we're 18. Your studies at the Imperial College may have begun with a luxurious party, but soon you settle into a routine of lesson after lesson. Along with dozens of other future judges, you spend hours listening to lectures in spacious college halls with high ceilings. You study imperial law and legislation, analyzing every technicality and interpretation. The subjects only get tougher, and the instructors grow ever more demanding as your studies continue. Yet law is not the only thing you study. There are other disciplines as well, such as rhetoric and orthography. A true judge must have a perfect command of both the spoken and written word. Washing dark blue ink off your fingers becomes an indelible part of your daily routine. There are a lot of words in this game I just cannot pronounce. Of all your classes, you find the fencing lessons particularly exciting. Every lesson covers your body with more cuts and bruises and makes your muscles ache from exertion. But your childhood dream is worth it. Then finally, there comes a short break in your studies, a handful of days for rest and recreation. You meet Thomas to discuss how you are going to spend this time. You're coming with me tonight. No excuses, Brante. We'll be paying a visit to our mentor, Baron LaCroix. It's time you learned a thing or two about how we do things in the military. Your friend looks very cunning and pleased with himself when he says this. With a sigh, you change out of your college uniform and into your best clothes and follow him. Thomas rushes you to a two-story house somewhere in a noble neighborhood in the capital. Its windows are open, and you can hear people talking over each other. The house's sitting room is filled with young people. At least 24 men, almost all of them academy cadets. In the middle of the sitting room is an armchair, and in this armchair is a gentleman wearing the uniform of an Imperial Legion officer and smoking a pipe. His thick hair falls over his large, observant eyes. Baron LaCroix welcomes the two of you with a slight nod and continues his speech while everyone listens respectfully. As I was saying, young men, I firmly believe that the days when all the military glory of the Empire belonged to the Archnean dynasties are long gone. Human nobles have been serving the Emperor at least as well as the Archnean nobles for a long time now. Still, the Archneans keep acting like their origins are more important than honor and service to the crown. Take the Melanitis dynasty, for example. The Archdukes of Megra, long ago, their leader Char Melanitis formed a rebellion against the rule of the Tempests and the Twins' faith. He sucked all life from his own land, doomed thousands of his own subjects, and yet the Melanitis dynasty still rules over Megra like nothing ever happened. Then suddenly, Sir Croix flashes a cunning grin. I think this calls for a test of your strategic thinking, young men. But first, let me refresh your memory on the rebellion of Char Melanitis. It may seem surprising, but we have him to thank for our current status. He was the first to ennoble humans, an act of unprecedented insolence, but it gave the rebellious Duke immense support in his province. He risked his own reputation and title to make himself stronger thanks to humans, and in that he succeeded. No one had ever dared challenge the rule of the Archneans in Tempest before, but the rebellion of Megra changed everything. Humans became a part of the nobility. We got a taste of the power only Archneans could wield before, and unless I'm mistaken, most nobles in the Empire these days are human. Why, we outnumber the members of the Archnean dynasties dozens of times over. So Char Melanitis had complete rule and control over the lands of Megra. He had the loyalty of his ennobled human subjects, and he had the loyalty of the mages and witches who fled to Anazote, the only place in the Empire where they could hide from the Church. The Archduke of Megra had everything he needed to win, and yet two pivotal changes brought him down. First of all, he cast a magic spell that incinerated the entire province. It certainly stopped the Imperial legions in their tracks, but the population of Migra would no longer side with Char Milanitis after that. Second, the clergy struck at the rebellious Duke with the power of the twins. His magic was gone, and his main advantage was no more. Many fled, but as you know, it still took the Empire an entire month of siege before the palace of Adazote was taken. After the rebellion of Migra, the Empire changed drastically, and most importantly, humans finally received their lawful right to be ennobled. And I'd like to stress that in particular, ennobled not by birth, but by virtue of their own knowledge and talent. History, young men, is more than just a memory of the past. It is also a lesson for our future. I believe that part of her history proves my point. And now, a test. Tell me, if you were among the Imperial strategists during the rebellion, what would you have done? How would you have fought an enemy as powerful as Char Milanitis? With this, Sir Croy leans back in his armchair and takes a pull from his pipe while the cadets start discussing. Some take no time to say they cannot believe Sir Croy thinks humans were first ennobled by serving the rebellious Duke. Others say the prolonged palace siege might have been a mistake, and storming the palace would have been a better choice. Soon ideas start flying. Some cause only laughter, while others lead to debate. They are discussing the past of Anazote, the past of your hometown. You cannot possibly stay silent right now. If you were in command of the Imperial legions back then, what would you have done? Based on what you know about the rebellion of Migra, you see three potential strategies. The first involves calling upon the twins' miracles to rob Milanitis of magic and render him powerless. The second entails putting your faith in the discipline and valor of the army and a frontal assault. The third means drawing out the siege while making the enemy's life as hard as possible through cunning. Which of these strategies would you have chosen? You decide it is time for you to answer, Sir Croy. The proper way to bring down the castle of Anazote would have been through a prolonged siege, you say. The lands of Migra could no longer feed the warriors of Char Milanitis at the stage of the rebellion, and when their supplies eventually ran out, they would have opened the gate from the inside. Sir Croy looks at you, studying you attentively. I agree with what you're saying, young Brante, in a sense. Had the Imperial forces done that, they would have lost fewer men and kept the palace of Anazote intact. Yet you are missing my other point here. Milanitis' army would have continued fighting, even emancipated by the siege, even with their numbers dwindling. True, some did flee, but those who stayed to defend the city and the castle, even after the Imperial forces broke in, remained loyal to their lord until the very end. Long ago, only Arctians had the right to wield weapons and wage war, but now humans can prove their merit and earn the same right. Humans like ourselves. And the present empire has grown even stronger thanks to its new warriors and functionaries. These days, humans can judge, and rule, and create. The terrors wrought by rebellious Duke are undeniable, yet his rebellion creates new possibilities for all of us. And this, young men, is the moral of the story. Char Milanitis was defeated, but not by the clergy and their prayers, and not even by the noble militias assembled by other archdukes. He was vanquished by the Imperial legions, a unified army with clear regulations and ranks, and a clear chain of command, an army that is strong in discipline and loyalty to the Empire, or Emperor. His eyes finally move away from you, and back to the rest of the young men in the hall. But nobody else dares to argue with the battle-hardened officer. The evening continues. Sir Croy shares some of his war stories, each more astounding than the last. For the rest of the night, you are out of the Baron's center of attention, and so you join Thomas and the other cadets in sipping wine and enjoying his tales. You return to the college long after midnight. You often recall Baron O'Croy's story about the rebellion of Char Milanitis after that. The rebellious Duke lost the war, and yet he brought about drastic changes for humans and the entire empire. Empire. I'm the constipator. There are days when you receive letters from home. Father's writing is very reserved. He mostly discusses events and work in Megra and writes very little about the family. It makes me proud that I have managed to teach Stefan how to handle our affairs at home. Your older brother behaves impeccably at the society balls. What? Impeccably, impeccably at the society balls and receptions that we host. He has already made several crucial acquaintances. But Gloria has a different opinion of Stefan. She thinks her older brother is taking more and more after grandfather. Stefan is a lot like grandfather. It's in his manners, his posture, his voice. He even dresses just like him. He used to be aloof around me, and we barely talked in the past, but now he always blames me and tears me apart. I can't take it anymore. He walks all over me all the time and treats me like a housemaid. Mother writes to you. From her letters, you learn that Nathan just barely managed to graduate from school. It makes me sad to admit that Nathan has none of the talents you have. The other day, he told me he won't even try to study in the capital. He says he won't be able to pass the exams. I find solace only in the nights Nathan and I spend together reading the scriptures and our walks to the church by the silver tree. He accompanies me every time. Your sister and younger brother write about Mother too, and they say the same thing about her health. She now spends more time locked away in the chambers to brood. Gloria does her best to accompany Mother when she leaves home, and Nathan's letters mention her steps echoing in the halls in the middle of the night. There is one more thing Nathan mentions in his letters. Stefan and Gloria have been fighting very often these days. Stefan always tries to get under Gloria's skin, and she answers him in kind. Then Stefan calls her a lowly commoner to make her shut up. You always tremble in excitement each time you see a new letter with the seal of your home province. Your fate is still bound tightly to your families, no matter the distance between you. I went down? Or I went up? It looked like I went down. No, I did go down. What? So everybody hates me. Everybody hates me! Everybody thinks I suck? For what? You will become a judge one day. You are sent to the prefecture of Eterna to be mentored by a more experienced colleague. Your mentor is a judge of considerable age, a noble of the mantle with a proud bearing about him. He never misses a chance to remind you that being mentored by such an experienced man of office is a great honor. Your mentor entrusts you with his minor cases and, to his great joy, his night shift. Another night begins. The office is growing darker. You are still there, zealously filling out the paperwork for the day. A petty theft, a verbal assault against a noble of the sword by a commoner, a fine for the parents of children who covered an imperial institution with obscene drawings. Petty cases, all of them, but they are real cases a judge has to face, and so you sit there, carefully comparing complaints, statements, and witness testimony. Then the doors of the Oppenheimer swing up. Then the doors of your office swing open. A gendarme drags in a provocatively dressed girl. Her golden hair is undone, and her makeup is a fiery red. Girls like her sell their bodies in houses of ill repute. The next to enter the office is a stout priest, his face adorned by a nose of a remarkable shape and a huge wart on his cheek. You do your best to avoid staring at it. The gendarme gives his report. The girl was arrested with a certain gentleman in the park by the Temple of the Twins. They were committing acts of carnality and affront to the faith. The huffing and puffing priest interrupts him and starts yelling. He saw her doing magic, he did. The gentleman was enthralled by the girl, and he was glowing like a lamppost. Huh? You gesture for the priest to stay quiet and ask if the gendarme can prove this. The gendarme only shrugs. He didn't see anyone glowing. He arrested the girl for her sacrilegious conduct alone. The man in her company was a noble, so the gendarme couldn't bring himself to arrest him. He does, however, remember his name. The priest is huffing and puffing even louder now. It was magic, he screams. You must refer this case to the Inquisition. This witch was loose on the streets of the Empire's illustrious capital, seducing good men with her vile charms. The girl stays quiet all the while. Her eyes are emerald green, twinkling with gold as she looks at you. When she does speak, her voice is soft, like smooth velvet. My name is Ilis, Your Honor. All I did was obey the noble gentleman's wish. He wanted my affection, right by the temple, and I dared not to oppose him. I did not defy my lot, did I? The wench, looks up and meets your gaze as she says these words. Her eyes reflect the candlelight in the dusk, sending sparks of gold dancing across the walls. The gendarme stands awkwardly by the door, sighing. The priest goes off on another rant. You tell him to be quiet. The day is not over yet. You must decide how to resolve this unusual case on your own. The law says a judge must investigate all circumstances related to a case. You know the name of the nobleman who was seen with this girl in the throes of passion. The gendarme was afraid to question him, but you are a future nobleman yourself, a young judge. Surely you can find a way to resolve this matter with discretion and get the information you need from the nobleman. But perhaps the suspicious lady of evening, Ilis, is at the heart of the matter. You have no doubt she will reveal her true colors if you question her. If the priest was right about her using magic, the girl's fate is sealed. Your Honor. You look up from your desk and into the eyes of the beautiful Ilis, and you suddenly feel as though a divine light is shining upon you. This emotion flows like a river. It lifts you up. This is more than beauty, more than passion. This is much, much more. Will you resist this call, or will you heed it? Well, we'll do this. You dismiss the priest and gendarme and begin questioning Ilis. You are alone with the harlot now. She traces lines on your table, absent-mindedly with her finger. Her dress still reflects the candlelight, scattering it into golden specks across the wall of the office. You sense something unnatural in these sparks of gold. You have seen these sparks before, once as a youth. You recall a sunset in Anazote, an abandoned house, and Sophia's deep blue eyes. You cannot help but share the priest's concerns. The questioning begins. You ask Ilis how she makes a living. Your Honor, my dream is to become an actress and join the Imperial Theater, but I'm just a poor girl of low birth. How else am I supposed to earn my keep? Her trade is none of your concern, you explain. However, engaging in depravity next to a holy site is an affront to the twins. Ilis smiles craftily, and fire flashes in her eyes. The light in her eyes beckons, promising to take you somewhere far away. You quietly pray to the younger to deliver you from this temptation for the sake of justice. An affront to the gods? On the contrary, Your Honor, I serve the twins. Their love flows within me, and I grant it to anyone who asks. Ilis rises from her chair, incensed. She is glowing, literally. Light emanating from her is now bright enough to illuminate the entire room. This is neither my vice nor my folly. Your Honor, it was the twins' will that I be born this way. I do not control people. I do not cloud their minds. All I do with my gift is help them feel the love of our gods, which they have forgotten. The gods themselves bless me for this. Had the twins hated magic as much as the Inquisition pretends, they would have never allowed me to be born. This is a confession. Ilis is a witch. She does not realize the fate that must await all witches. Yes, I was born a witch. What am I supposed to do, Your Honor? Get myself burned at the stake by the Inquisition? Or become their mindless collared puppet? Is that how I'm supposed to find my way to the peak? No, I will not live my life that way. And if the twins judge me guilty in the hereafter for bringing their love to the people, then so be it. The case is closed. The girl is a witch who uses her sorcery to beguile the mind. She confessed as much herself. You must send for the Inquisition now. There is no other way. Such is the law. I hoped you could see it, Sir Brante. I hoped you could recognize their love when it touches you. I feel sorry for you.
Hell nah, I hate love. Hell nah.
Stern-looking priest enters your office accompanied by armed champions of faith. The Inquisitors examine the girl closely, study your notes, and thank you for catching the witch. The champions of faith lock a collar around Ilis's neck. The golden glow in her eyes is gone. 3 days later, pretty Ilis is burned at the stake in Majesty Square. Cool. I have no comment on that.
You 137.
Two major events take place while you are busy living your life. Firstly, Cornelius Tempest is no longer the great chancellor of the empire. He has been ousted and sent back to his province. His replacement is the Archduke of Monia, Aegirius Monroe, the same Monroe who sought to shut down the college. The most powerful lord in the realm finally convinced the emperor that his brother Cornelius was giving too much freedom to the noble. Now the policies of the empire will be reversed. Many fear that the new great chancellor will destroy the imperial code of laws and other achievements of Cornelius. There are cautious rumors among the people. They say the new great chancellor is going to revoke the right to the common lot to be ennobled by the mantle. Secondly, Megra, your homeland, now has a new overseer, Gaius Tempest, the older brother of the Emperor Uther II. Usually the overseer of a province is its archduke. After all, it makes sense for the province's most powerful noble to impart the emperor's will to the locals. Yet now this age-old tradition has been broken, and, to no one's surprise, Archduke Tarquinius Melanitis is absolutely furious. Gaius Tempest used to be the main supporter of his brother, former Great Chancellor Cornelius Tempest. The nobles at the Emperor's court say this is a stratagem by the Archnean gentry, who want Gaius removed from court affairs along with Cornelius. Either way, Gaius Tempest and Tarquinius Melanitis will be at each other's throats over the province. This does not bode well for their future. Only one thing is clear. Megra, your home province, is about to face great changes. The capital is preparing for a great celebration. The coming of age Girion Tempest, heir to the throne. The streets are being cleaned. The low-born merchants are gone from the squares, and flags and flower garlands have appeared in the buildings. By the Emperor's decree, everyone will celebrate for the next 3 days. Eterna is abuzz. A festive procession starts on the streets. Students from the college and cadets from the military academy will be there to show their gratitude to the Emperor's family for entrusting them with the power they wield. Ribbons and flags flutter in the wind. The streets are scrubbed clean, and the scent of flowers fills the air. You march side by side with Thomas, carrying the banner of your province. Your front's brown hair is unusually well combed today. He waves to every girl you see on the streets as you pass by. They giggle shyly, and some of them wave back. Did you see that, pal? Look at that beauty. She just smiled at me. Now this is what I call living. I just love parades. The Tempest royal family observes the slowly approaching parade from the balcony of the Imperial Palace. They are joined by the Empire's highest dignitaries and provincial overseers. You see Emperor Uther II with your own eyes. There, high above, yet so close. The columns come to a halt at the balcony and salute the emperor with the mottos of the college and the academy. You join the other college students in crying, "Learning is strength! Learning is will!" The emperor raises his hand in a gesture of benevolent greeting. His voice echoes across the square. God, look at that mug. I accept your gratitude, my loyal subjects. Take pride as you wield your knowledge and valor in service of the Empire. I just had a voice crack. All who are worthy will be ennobled by the mantle by my grace. The future nobles around you cheer the Emperor's words, but their jubilation gives way to murmurs of discontent when Archduke Monrogue, the new Great Chancellor of the Empire, steps onto the balcony. Everyone here remembers all too well how the Archduke attempted to shut down the college by force. Still, the Archduke is the de facto leader of the Arcnian gentry. He is a force to be reckoned with, even for the Emperor, and so he's the Great Chancellor now.
Hail, your Emperor, common folk! Be forever obedient and grateful for those good graces you do not deserve by birth.
The Archduke does not even bother to hide his contempt for the gathering below. Booed by the crowd, he rejoins the dignitaries in the back row. You notice one of them, a slender, elegant figure under an emerald banner with a black snake. She is Octavia Melanitis, daughter to the Archduke of Magra. Beauty, my one true love. Now that's new. You noticed Octavia too, eh? Our Archduke Melanitis sent his daughter in his stead. That's a sign of disrespect for the Emperor if I've ever seen one. Is he so enraged because he's no longer the overseer of Magra? I mean, you can't imagine his surprise. That's never happened before. But then everyone grows silent. A young, slender Arcnian with a shy smile comes forth. There are whispers in the crowd. That's Prince Geryon, heir to the throne, ward of Cornelius, promise and hope of the common estate. To the left of Geryon is his younger brother, Flavius. He is baffled at the sight of the parade below, too young to process what he is seeing. May the twins be kind to you, my future subjects. I promise to repay you in kind and help you prosper in your loyal service to the Empire. Exalted by these words, the future nobles roar as one. All hail Prince Geryon! Another figure steps into view next to the heir. He is an Arcnian, elegantly dressed, and his mantle bears the Tempest colors. He raises his arms, about to make a speech. Hey look, that's Gaius Tempest. Hey look, that's Gaius Tempest, the Emperor's brother, and the new overseer of Magra, by the way. It seems the Arcnian elders want him as far from the throne as possible, just like his brother Cornelius. Those two have been promising too many freedoms for commoners like you and me. Long live Prince Geryon, students of the college, cadets of the academy. Time and time again you have proven yourselves to the Empire by word and deed. Today is the day of great celebration, and in honor of Prince Geryon you must ask the Emperor to guarantee forever the right to distinguish common folk to be ennobled by the mantle. So ask now! The cadets and students freeze in hesitation. They exchange glances, unsure whether to follow the words of the Emperor's own brother. On the balcony high above, Prince Geryon also remains still, awaiting a reaction from the crowd. Archduke Monrogue briskly steps into view once more. He takes several seconds to observe the crowd before he speaks.
Imperial subjects, what the Emperor's brother wishes to say is that you must always remember that you owe your status to the Tempest dynasty. The Emperor accepts your gratitude and sends you off with his blessing. You may leave now. But the columns stay where they are. That's not what Gaius Tempest said. Let the Emperor hear us. The law! We ask for the law! Commotion and murmurs spread over the crowd as some of the future nobles refuse to follow the Archduke's order.
There are shouts heard here and there. The law! We ask for the law! The academy officers and teachers of the college urge them to fall in line and resume the parade. But tension is rising. The crowd slowly grows enraged and unruly. You have to decide where you stand here. So demand my rights. You cry out in support of Gaius Tempest's call for the law. You have the right to be heard, and you have the right to ask. Your voice grows stronger. Soon others join you. The chant grows louder with every second. The law! The law! Inspired by the support of your fellow students and cadets, you move through the square and urge others to join you. Thomas walks by your side, waving his arms wildly, inciting others to shout along with you. The law! The law! You, Thomas, and other vocal students and cadets gather in the very center of the square. Academy officers are trying to shout you into submission and order you back into procession, but they are barely heard above your chant. Still, some submit and form back into the columns. But the impassioned chant continues, and you are at the very heart of the chanting crowd. An Imperial Guard cavalry regiment emerges from the palace. They start slowly, advancing on the crowd, hands on their swords, pushing people out of the square. You have to stand your ground, so you start giving orders to defend the cobblestones beneath your feet with your fellow future nobles. You assemble into a double chain formation around the center of the square. It is strong enough to prevent the Imperial Guard from reaching the very center. The commoners go running left and right away from the horses, but the cavalry stops when it reaches your double chain. They cannot break through unless they are ordered to attack, and so they halt and wait for orders. The horses paw at the cobblestones. The cavalry swords are drawn, ready to come crashing down upon your heads. It is a standoff between the armor-clad cavalry and the unarmed students and cadets. Emperor Uther II appears at the balcony again, joined by his brother Gaius Tempest and their heir to the throne, Gerion Tempest. With a gesture, the emperor calls for attention. The square falls silent at the sight of the sovereign. My subjects, I have heard your request. There is no need to repeat it again and again. The great Imperial Council shall review my brother's proposal. Now follow your lot and obey my will. Continue the parade and sing the praises to the ever-merciful Prince Gerion. These words from the Emperor are enough to quell the commotion in the square. The standoff ends, and the cavalry withdraws. Well, would you look at that, old friend? We did it. We stood up for our noble right, and we won. That's the Emperor's word. That's what our courage can do. Voices from the crowd are quick to disprove Thomas. The Emperor never gave his word. He only promised to review the proposal. People begin to argue around you again. This time, however, no one wishes to disobey the orders from on high, and so the students line up into columns once again. The bout of defiance is in the past now, and everyone resumes the festive parade through the city streets. Glory to the Emperor Uther. Glory to Prince Gerion. Hey, I'm battle-hardened now, even though I've never fought. Well, I fought in my youth, but I've since then done nothing with myself. The way of the sword. Your studies at the college come easily to you. Only now do you realize the importance of all the lessons you had to endure as a child at father's expense. Month after month, you study the judge's trade down to the smallest details, growing more confident in your new calling with every lecture. But there is more to your education than the judge's trade in imperial law. You also learn manners and courtly etiquette and poetry and composition and even fencing. On some days you go with Thomas to a deserted patch of land to practice with the sword. Then finally the day of your judge exams comes. You send your test results to your father, and he replies with an appointment to a judge's office at the prefecture of Megre. Now you have a new life and a new profession back home. You will return to your hometown as a judge. It is early morning at the great temple of the twins. Your heart skips a beat as you step inside the temple. It feels like the day from your childhood again. The priest is standing by the altar, and the temple is divided into two halves. But you are no longer a frightened little child anymore. You are now a grown man who is about to become a noble. The floor on the common side is there to cause pain. You feel the jagged edges even through your soles of your boots. This pain marks your final few seconds as a commoner. The priest stands before you. You kneel again, but now there is warm, smooth marble under your knees. You hear the words spoken above your head. From this day forth, your lot is strength and will. From this day forth, you will rule and fight and pursue the arts. Now rise, noble. You place your lips on the smooth steel of Tlasosb. Blech. You place your lips on the smooth steel of the sword, and when you rise again, you realize that the trembling you felt ever since your first sacrament is now completely gone. You arise a new man. Your every motion now uncannily accurate, your thoughts surprisingly fresh, your muscles ready to face the fight. This day feels worthy of a poem, and now you can compose one if you wish. You touch your back. The mark of the lash from your previous sacrament is gone completely, erased forever. You hurry from the sacrament back to your room at the college. Your father's gift awaits you there, a sword, your very own sword. Now to celebrate, all college students are invited to the college tournament. Then a party. The sword feels wonderful in your hand, a promise of future victories. The tournament begins. The stands are loud with anticipation. Never in your entire life have you seen so many beautiful noble ladies in one place. But there is only one who attracts everybody's attention. The raven-haired, black-eyed Octavia Melanitis, the daughter of the Archduke of Megra, has graced the tournament with a visit. I think I see her. I think she's right there, right? That's her.
And that's me.
She's wearing a dress of emerald green, her austere hairdo immaculate. She is surrounded by her ladies in waiting, all beauties in their own right. When a noble enters the tournament, he must announce the name of the lady whose honor he is fighting for. Many shout the names of their loved ones in the stalls. You know that many would fight for Octavia Melanitis, but the onus of responsibility is too great. You take a few jabs with the sword, warming up for the fight. Soon it is your turn. All eyes are on you now. The young lady Octavia hides her face behind the hand fan, yet her eyes watch you with curiosity. She likes me. She's into me. No biggie. You approach the stalls and introduce yourself. Then you announce your decision. You will fight in the name of your father, Robert Brante. You earned the noble title only because he taught you well, and honor demands you dedicate your victories to him. The stall grows quiet. Unlike the other fighters in the arena, you are not fighting in a lady's name. The first fight begins. The rules are the same as for any noble duel. Whoever draws first blood wins. Your first opponent does not put up much of a fight. A few minutes later, he misses a jab to the thigh. Your shirt is soaked with sweat. The hilt of your sword feels slippery in your wet fingers. Still, you prevail in 3 fights in a row. Then prepare to face a new opponent. You know him well. He was mentored at the prefecture of Eterna after you. He is an unusually quick and nimble fighter. Again and again, you find yourself driven to the edge of the arena to avoid his jabs. Then with a slashing feint, you draw your opponent's blood. Another victory. To your surprise, you are about to fight the champion's for the champion's title. You will face Jose. What? You will face Jose Pelletier, the best fencer in the college, with 5 wins in his tournament alone. Your skill pales before the mastery he has attained after months of grueling practice with the sword. He assaults you with a flurry of cuts, thrusts, and jabs. You can barely react in time to deflect them. But then you recall a bright moment from your childhood, your very first fencing lesson with your father, the first man to teach you how to dodge a lunge. This memory comes alive in your mind. You stand more confidently now. You take a few steps back to catch your breath and study your opponent. This Pelletier is good at keeping his distance and following an attack with a defense. Yet his movements are too learned, too mechanical, so you try a trick. First you pretend there is an opening in your defense. You rush him suddenly, then follow your assault with a feint. The sudden, unpredictable attack catches your opponent off guard. He jumps to the side, but not before the very tip of your sword catches Pelletier on the right shoulder. He is itching to continue the fight, but a patch of red spreads across the sleeve of his shirt. Victory! You salute the stalls and dedicate this victory to your father, Robert Brante. Your fellow students pick you up and carry you to the stalls as everyone chants your name. The winner's reward is the tournament ribbon, and Lady Octavia Milanitis, the tournament's guest of honor, will tie it around your sword herself. The crowd parts as the daughter of the Archduke of Megra walks towards you. All this time, Octavia has been watching you closely from behind her emerald hand fan. She ties the ribbon of honor around your blade. You have proven yourself admirably, Sir Brante. A worthy victory. Your father has every right to be proud. The son of a judge from Anazote. Who could have known we would have met one another here in the capital of the Empire? I must say I am amazed. I will remember your name. The eyes of the young Archduchess follow you even as you leave the arena victorious. You will remember this day for the rest of your life. The day when you became a noble. Ooh! Graduated from the college. You have earned the judge's mantle and the noble title. Just before you leave the capital, you overhear something unusual on the street. Junius Diamant, Patriarch of Astinia, and one of the leaders of the new faith will stand trial before a church tribunal. The Order of the Inquisition has accused Patriarch Junius of patronizing blasphemous witches and decimating heresy. The Holy Tribunal claims that Junius Diamant was scheming to free all witches and sorcerers from the collars that fetter their accursed powers. And what's worse, the Patriarch was also accused of forming the Lotless, a dangerous secret society based in the imperial capital. Members of this society have been assaulting inquisitors and priests of the church, as well as freeing witches from the cleansing fire and helping them escape the holy law. Now the Patriarch must face the Holy Tribunal of the Inquisition in Eterna. By all accounts, this is a devastating blow to the new faith, and the end of days for Junius Diamant himself. The Inquisition will make the most of this opportunity to rid the land of the unwelcome Patriarch who dared to shake the foundation of the old faith. But then comes the sudden news of Patriarch Junius's reply to the Holy Tribunal. It is no less stunning than the accusation. These words are nothing but lies. I will say this to anyone who dares to bring this accusation against me in person. But I want these hypocrites to bear the full weight of their responsibility for the slander against me, my flock, the Diamant dynasty, and the Holy Order. I agree to stand trial before the Holy Tribunal, but I will face them on my own land and on my terms. Patriarch Junius has already received strong support from Patriarch Luke and many priests across Archnia. Parishes of the new faith throughout the Empire are now speaking out in support of Junius Diamant. The Church of the Twin Gods is about to be rent in twain. The Inquisition has no choice but to revoke the trial in order to avert the coming schism. Their new official stance is that Patriarch Junius has been wrongfully accused, and the Holy Tribunal will now apply more cautious judgment during any further trials against the followers of the new faith. Following the teachings of Patriarch Fotis is no longer seen as heresy by the Inquisition. The trial of Junius Diamant has been averted, but the divide between the church is only deepening. The new faith has directly challenged the old faith. The result is uncertain, depending on who you ask. Some say Junius Diamant all but pled guilty. Others believe the Patriarch and the alleged rebellion against the church, as well as the Inquisition, is nothing but a ruse. These are also people, or there are also people who think the entire situation sounds like one of the secret chancellery's dirty deeds. One way or another, the Patriarch of Astinia is and co-leader of the new faith remains at his post. But for how long? And how will the old faith and the new faith clash next? Okay. So we got closer than old faith being in power. A farewell to the capital. The Regleta and Talarina rivers meet outside those city walls. You have barely left the capital since you came here all those years ago. A breeze is blowing in your face, and the bright noon sun hangs above the shining pillar. Your stay in Eterna has come to an end. You arrived here a boy, full of hopes and aspirations, driven by your family's expectations and a desire to live your life as you saw fit. And now you have to leave, and this thought fills you with gentle sadness. Eterna did not become your home, and yet here you are, and here you have finally found your path. Here in the capital, you become a nobleman and a judge. Now you are one of the rulers, the warriors, the pleasure seekers, the creators, those who spill their blood for the empire and family and honor. Those who keep in honor the age-old traditions. This is your lot now. You are to work in the prefecture of your home province as a judge. Your path to this goal was a long one, and your friend Thomas was by your side all the while. You fondly recall your walks through the streets of Eterna, your secret fencing lessons, your heartful discussions. You have no doubt your future back in Anazote will be full of glory. And then you recall the black, enigmatic eyes of Octavia Melanitis, an Arachnean from one of the greatest dynasties, a woman whose beauty and majesty makes you tremble. You heard she would be returning to the court of her father, the Archduke in Megra. Will you see her again? Will you see her again? I hope so. You will meet father once more. He tends to hide his feelings, but not this time. After all, you have fulfilled all his hopes, succeeded in your studies, and continued your family's noble legacy. Many things must have changed back home by now. You recall your older brother Stefan. Now that you have been ennobled, you are practically equals at last. This means you should follow an old tradition and bring Stefan a gift. And so you head for the market district of Eterna. Soon you are busy trying out swords at a weaponsmith's shop. There is a lot to consider for this gift. Stefan is taller, and his shoulders are broader, which means his sword must be heavier and longer. There can be no embellishments. Stefan would scoff at you if you brought him an extravagant weapon. At last you find a suitable sword, black and steel, a subtle ornament of leaves on the blade, and a grip shaped like women vines. It resembles the seared soil of Megra beneath the silver tree. You choose to sheath with the same diligence. There, a light wooden frame bound in thin yet sturdy leather will make the blade easy to draw, and the buckle is sturdy enough. You leave the shop satisfied. You leave the capital the morning after. Eterna, the city, where you spent 4 years, slowly disappears on the horizon. Will you ever see the capital again? You do not know. The sword, a gift for Stefan, is in your hands. After 4 years in the capital, you return to your home city of Anazote. The end of youth. The years of your youth have come to an end. The time has come to leave the capital behind and return to your family and new business in your hometown of Anazote. The years away from home were full of tumult and hardship. Your adult shoulders now bear the burden of your first life-changing decisions. Did you have the freedom to choose this lot for yourself, or was it your destiny all along, ever since your childhood years? All you can do now is follow the path that lies before you. Yeah, so that was the 3rd chapter, and I think the 4th chapter is... I think that's the longest chapter. Okay, I'm gonna keep these. Cool. There we go. So that's youth done and then peacetime. Yeah. 20 years old, baby. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed. Stay rad.
A full adult now, I returned from the capital a changed man. Yet, my hometown was not the same as I had left it. Fate had difficult times in store for all of us.